The first thing that can come off as very masculine or as a habit of what some will consider a masculine woman is that you're very unapproachable. One of the things that women tend to tell me a lot is, well, I am feminine once I'm in a relationship. But if you're not exuding that, then how will anyone know? How will anyone be drawn to you with the understanding that you are capable of walking in it? So a lot of women don't realize how unapproachable they come across. When you are in environments where you want to be able to be more approachable, you have to smile. It's in your favor. When you tell me you struggle to smile, that's just not who you are. It says to me you have something deeper within that needs to be resolved. Because when you are at peace from within, smiling comes naturally. Okay? So if you're struggling with that, then ask yourself why. Just don't say this is who I am. No, let's go deeper. All right? To answer the question of, well, there's plenty of women who don't smile and they get approached. Most of those times, they're getting approached who just want to have casual relations with them. Because men who only want to have sex with you and have fun or whatever you want to call it, they don't care about your energy. It doesn't matter. It actually works more against you when you give off a more masculine energy, because I always say that kind of energy says to them, oh, you won't get in your feelings. And emotionally detached is ideal for a man who's just looking to have sex and pass time. He doesn't want you to get on your feelings. So if you come across that way, he's thinking, oh, you're the prime candidate for a casual situation. She can play her position. She doesn't get all emotionally involved. We're good here. And a man may not be able to articulate that, but again, that energy, that spirit you're giving off communicates that to him. All right. And they've seen it multiple times. So they start to connect those dots in their head like, oh, this means this. What kind of quality man will you attract if you're not exuding the correct energy or a more positive, efficient energy? And I can tell you from women in my membership group or women that I've had as clients and just talk to randomly, those who've learned to shift their energy into a more feminine energy when they're out and about have seen amazing results. All right, so here's a second habit of highly masculine women that I think many overlook is you tend to overspeak and dominate conversations, okay? Now, I want to start by saying I understand that that's not always about you being masculine. Sometimes there's a lot of women who are just not aware of their maybe excitement or passion that they tend to just jump in. The overspeaking specifically can come across as very masculine to that. Or again, that hardened energy, that gives this perception that you are difficult to deal with. And so it's important that you become mindful of that, because more and more men are paying attention to those things. And the reason why it can create such a problem or negative perception is because, listen, at the end of the day, if you don't show the ability to just listen to what he's saying, then one, how does that play into when you guys are in a relationship and he's trying to express himself? As well as how does that play into you being able to properly process what he just said? I'll never forget this story where a couple I knew, they went to a counselor. There was an exercise the therapist gave them where the therapist told the husband, all right, tell her how you feel. And then he goes on his whole vent and says how he feels. And then at the end of it, she goes to the wife. She says, repeat back to me what he just said. And the whole next 30 minutes or so was her not repeating it, more trying to interpret it. Well, what I heard was this. Well, it sounds like he's saying this rather than, no. What did the man say? Okay. And so for a lot of women, there's this bad habit of you're not listening and taking the words specifically that he's saying to you to understand where he is coming from. You are twisting it and turning it and creating a narrative that isn't accurate. When you overspeak and you show that inability to listen, then you show an inability to properly process what's being said. And that can lead to a lot of arguments, to a lot of misunderstandings, to a lot of breakdowns in communication. But then also let's get back to the whole dominating the conversation. Because again, I can't tell you how many times men have said to me, like, I can't talk to my wife, or I can't talk to my partner, or whatever. I don't feel like I'm being heard because she's just overrunning the conversation every single time. And when men don't feel heard, they will shut down. I say this unfortunately, even though they'll shut down, they'll stay in the relationship. So don't confuse them staying with that means they are happy with the way that you're communicating with them. It's just that many just take it as, okay, you know what? I don't want any problems. Let me just keep the peace. So I accept that she overtalks me. I accept that she controls all the conversations, even though I'm not going to do anything about it. But it leads to so many more breakdowns and unhappiness and all kinds of problems. So be mindful of that. Be very conscious of listening, not listening to rebuttal, listening to understand, listening to allow this person to get everything off their chest, and then you speak. All right, so let's move things along. And the third habit of highly masculine women is being very dismissive. This is one of those things where I don't want to call dismissiveness a true masculine trait. It's more so it comes off very hardened. It comes off very difficult. And that kind of plays into someone perceiving you as very masculine. All right. And so again, men have feelings. And I know that's a shock to some of y'all, right? But they do. And when you're being dismissive of them, that hurts. That can cause them to shut down. Now, I already can hear some of y'all saying, well, how about when he's being dismissive to us? Listen, anyone in the relationship being dismissive, that's a problem. Both the man and the woman have to work on trying to understand and acknowledging the other person's feelings and what they're saying. Now, acknowledging doesn't necessarily mean you have to agree, okay? But it just means you're saying to them, I hear you. I understand why this would bother you. Though, and when I use that phrase, I understand why this would bother you. You may not understand it in the sense that it would bother you, but you understand it bothers them. That's how they react to things. And when you have that acknowledgement, that lets people feel more heard, more valued, and it allows them to continue to be open with you. But I have to say this, when you are a very dismissive woman, there is something in you that has not been resolved that causes you to just shut people down like that. I also have to say that it doesn't just stop with how you are with men. If you're very dismissive towards him, there's a very good chance you're dismissive towards your friends, to your family, possibly your children, okay? And all of that is going to create a very unhealthy, unhappy environment. You've got to be willing to look at yourself in the mirror and check yourself in this regard, all right? Because healthy communication cannot exist with you being constantly dismissive. And you have to ask yourself, how does it make you feel when people do it to you? And the fact that if there is someone doing it to you, so going back to, let's say that man has been doing it to you. Okay, that doesn't mean do it back. That means address it. And if he's not willing to correct it, then you let him go. But you don't stoop down to that level. You don't develop the habit of it because, again, that habit will now carry on to other aspects of your life. If you're not too sure if you're dismissive or not, ask people that you talk to. Ask people that you care about. Tell them to be brutally honest with you and ask them about don't even just ask about being dismissive. Ask about how is your communication style with them. And be open to their feedback and start working on those things, because when you can learn to speak with more love and more compassion and be more willing to listen and hear people out, you will start to exude more feminine, positive energy. So everything that we're talking about, because again, we are talking about masculine energy and feminine energy. So it isn't just about the words you speak. It's the energy that's coming off of you. And so to really fix that is to get to your heart, to get to your intent when you come into a conversation. If you come into that conversation with a genuine desire to find peace, to find resolution, to listen, to understand, then you will give off an energy that is more receptive and more welcoming and creates better communication in any of your relationships. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there.